Good afternoon, everybody. Hello. Welcome back to Room82 podcast. I'm Pete from Room82, and I'm here with
Jay Groovara,
the one and only, who played at Room82's Unsigned Underground at the Guildhall studio this past Monday. If you listen to it in the future, it was Monday the 21st of January. If you're going to put this in a Blue Peter time capsule.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to do one then.
I'd love to do that.
Yeah, I'd actually put the Blue Peter presenters in the time capsule.
That'd be cool.
That'd be
Dig 'em
great.
up 1,000 years from now. Yeah.
Live, yeah. They'd probably, I don't know what they were doing there. They'd probably repopulate it first, then realise that wouldn't work.
Which ones? Like John Noakes and his dog?
Pretty much all of them.
Or just every single
Anyone a roster that is alive. Bury him.
Mark Curry.
Mark Curry, yeah. And maybe they'd eat curry.
Simon Groom, is it?
Groom, yeah. And Richard Bacon, he loves the cocaine. The cocaine.
Sarah Green.
Yvette Fielding has always been my favourite for obvious reasons. Ghost Hunter. Hunting ghosts.
Hunting ghosts.
Is Yvette Fielding.
Is it?
She does Most Haunted.
Oh yeah, okay.
I have a lot to talk about Most Haunted, but I will, as a lot of people might know who listen, who know Room82 and Ghost House. But that's for another time.
Okay.
I'll show you Ghost House one day. I'll bore you with it.
I think I've seen one of the episodes. It's usually what's that noise? And there's nothing there. Oh, there's something else, and then there's nothing at all. And
yeah, that's pretty much it.
pretty much.
That's pretty much. So we're here to talk about Reprise of the Wise, and the reason it was called Reprise of the Wise is on the first night we had a power cut, so it was for the acts on the second half that wanted to come back and have an opportunity. We asked Lucy back as well, and
Just Lucy.
as she's fantastic. Not only is she fantastic, but the reason we asked her back is during the power cut, when the power actually went off, she bravely entertained us with no power, and that was great. So as a thank you, we asked to come back. We had everyone, and we had new faces like yourself.
Yep.
We had Matt doing his voodoo, which was fantastic.
Is that Matt Horan?
Yeah, Matt
Yeah.
Hallman.
Portsmouth's very own David Blaine.
Yeah, Matt Hallman, and he thinks I don't know his surname, but I'm doing it deliberately, and I don't think he's twigged because he seemed to be generally getting annoyed.
It's Matt
So-
Horan, I think.
Matt Holmes. So I'll keep calling him Matt Holmes,
Yeah.
and I will continue to keep calling him Matt Holmes
Matt Blaine.
because but I do it with I did it with you. I do it with all the acts actually.
Yeah.
Apart from B.
Gugugera or something.
Yeah. But I do it deliberately because I'm a bit of a dick. But for comedy effect as well.
Have you got to cut that out now? Because you've sworn.
So no, it's not too bad. You can keep it PG.
That's good.
13. You can say the F word. Well, the C word maybe in context. It's depending on
It's
the
in
context.
the context, yeah.
But most of the night is most of the stuff I was doing is unbroadcastable anyway for under 18 market. But it was a good night. It went exactly how I planned it. How it's going because we're behind in the Unsigned Underground continuity, so to speak. And we're here to not hear my ramblings. We're here to hear what Jay thought of the night playing it. And so, what did you think?
Yeah, it was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. And it was just nice to play in the Guildhall for a change, as opposed to some of the venues I have to play. But yeah, it's just a really nice turnout and wonderful sound. And it's just a really nice stage to play on. You've got a nice big stage and nice big speakers, and it's just a very encouraging environment, particularly for local bands that have never sort of played in a venue like that before. So it was a really good opportunity.
And the vibe of it, the vibe of the night, even from when everyone was setting up, and it was just like there was I left the room to do some work-related stuff, and then popped back. And as I walked through the studio doors during like rehearsals and sound checks, etc., just looked and saw you guys, and everyone was interacting with each other, and like I looked around, and everyone in that room had a smile on their face. And I thought, that's my Sandy Flow, by the way. If you wonder if that picks it up.
Oh, okay.
Living the dream, Sandy Flow. Sandy Flow 2000. Yeah. But yeah, everyone had the vibe and the atmosphere and the camaraderie was like it was just great.
Yeah, it was really good. And yeah, I mean, B did a fantastic set, and he got on Kylie Kylie Earl, who did a bit of violin for him, and that sounded pretty cool. And
he was amazing, yeah.
Yeah, and Just Lucy, I think she did "I'm Your Sunshine" in the minor key, which was nice.
Yeah, that's the work she did in the power cut. So we had the power cut.
Yeah.
And I ran over to briefly, and as soon as the power cut happened on the first one, everyone ran to the bar.
Yeah.
And it was like, you just heard voices, and I said to Lucy very quietly, could you play, because I heard her do that cover before, can you play that? And I was like, I was expecting to go, no, go away.
Yeah.
Because a power cut, you come to an event and there's a power cut, and that's like, everyone's going to hate this now. I've wasted everyone's time, and it's like, but no, it was complete opposite. Everyone was lovely, and the same with the night, the one that's just gone. I can't thank everyone enough, and I think that vibe. It was very rare. Putting on events, I won't go into details, but in a life where events are put on, people can get stressed. You can deal with a lot of hay-holes, and that didn't feel like it. It felt like a group of people, like we were having like a little party.
Everyone was there to have a good time, and that's what came out of it really. So it was a good time night, and
I think it was one of them nights that if we was allowed to, and like have there was an after party at Omar's, I think, or something like that.
Oh, I didn't hear about that. Okay.
I know, I think it was a very last minute thing.
Oh, right, okay.
And I was like, I can't go to the after part of the night because I've got to pack it away.
Yeah. His performance was hilarious. He was doing that kind of rap stuff, and
it's brilliant. The speed that them guys can do that.
Yeah.
It's just...
And people were whistling their stuff as they were coming out for a cigarette break afterwards. And
Arminouse. They recorded it round here.
Did they?
And it was great fun doing that, and
that's cool.
But I think two of the tracks they recorded it on that old thing next to you, pointing to a desktop.
Yeah.
Because
he does the trash arts thing as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
With Sam Mason Bell, I think.
Because he does the open mic thing. He's the host of the open mic of Open Your Mouth.
That's it, yeah.
And he does also a lot of acting in Right Here, Right Now, which is a great series. Highly recommend it. But playing wise, so was you happy with your set? Was you?
Yeah, I was kind of like I said earlier, I wasn't prepared to be playing my acoustic guitar with drums, because I think the original idea was that we'd go on and play acoustically with a box drum. But the sound, when we did the sound check, we were struggling with the box drum, and my drummer really couldn't hear himself on the box drum, and the other band, Dog Socket, happened to have a drum kit there.
Excuse me.
And during our sound check, the drummer said, "Do you want to use our drum kit?" And we were like, "Yeah." And suddenly my drummer just kicked the box drum aside, and he jumped behind the drum kit, and he was like, and he's a bit like Dave Grohl, so. And suddenly we sounded a million times better, which was great, you know. But then I was like struggling to try and equal that on an acoustic guitar, because usually it would be an electric guitar job. So I'm trying to muddle through these very heavy songs on an acoustic guitar, which was interesting.
Because what happened is I was putting up signs. These like retro hands that were pointing to where the studio is.
Right.
So I was out putting some signs, and it was quiet because obviously something was going on stage. Then I just heard this thunderous noise, and it was you guys.
That's right.
And it's like, great. So I walked in, and it was just like, yeah, that's sweet.
Yep.
It was nice. It sounded beautiful. We got the video. You got the video.
Yeah. I mean, I had a bit of stage nerves because I couldn't see the dots on my guitar. They were starting to come off, and I was struggling to find the notes. And but I think by the third song that we did, which was the Zombies song, I was sort of in the element and kind of got into it. I think it's a zone thing as well. You got to get into the zone, and it took me a while to get into the zone and just rock and stuff, you know. But yeah, by that point, I mean, we were sounding pretty good, and
and the atmosphere was just.
We got the audience to participate a bit, and I got them to sort of sing along with zombie noises.
Do you find it's hard, unless it's a standing gig? Do you find it hard that people dance anymore?
Well, when we did the open shut your mouth thing, we did the zombie song, and people got up, like Omar and a few other people, and they had to invent the dance, because I was saying do the zombie dance, and they don't know what that is, so they just sort of had to make it up as they went along. So they got their arms mechanically and doing these sort of zombie, sort of like a zombie might dance if a zombie could dance. And yeah, we had several people get up on the dance floor and do a bit of zombie dancing, which was nice. And
I've noticed, I've spent about, so leading up to Unsigned Underground and in the idea of it, we were a very small group of us went out and looked around the gigs, and for about 2 years of putting on our own stuff, little pop-up ones to see what we can find, and I noticed a lot of people maybe it's a cultural thing, whereas we've got a thing, there's a lot of wallflowers now. You used to go to gigs and there's a lot of, unless there's a mosh pit,
exactly.
Unless I don't know if you've noticed.
Well, when I went to see I went to see some grunge band at the Wedge of Dreams last year. I can't remember what they were called, but the point is it was like there was a big circle of people that were trying to avoid actually playing dancing, because there was one really short guy who ended up writing a song about afterwards, because he was this really short heavy metaler or something, very stocky, he looked like he should have been in the Avengers Assemble or something, and he was just throwing himself around, and he was kind of terrifying the audience, and nobody wanted to go anywhere near him, and this kind of circle got wider and wider, and it got to this point where he was flinging himself around, and we were kind of pushing him back into the centre, and then a few beers later, and then the next band came on, and then people started to mellow out, and then suddenly it was like something out of the 70s, where you get these line dancing, everyone does the hokey cokey. It was like a sort of heavy metal version of the hokey cokey. Everyone was doing a sort of train and dancing like that, and
awesome.
doing the rowing boat thing, where everyone gets on the floor and pretends
hoops upside your head.
It started doing that, which was great, But I think it's about getting into the zone, and and just shaking off them inhibitions, and which takes a while, I think.
Oh, definitely.
Alcohol helps, I think. So lots of
even the ones where I've seen people getting absolutely plastered. It seems a very rare thing.
Yeah.
People need to dance, get off the audience, because these guys are playing hard for you.
Exactly.
And dance and boogie. But saying that, I am one of these wallflowers that like, for example, when you were playing, I sit there and go, I sit there like a miserable git from the outside looking in, because I'm looking at a stage in envy, going, I want to be up there. I want to do this. I want to play with these guys.
Yeah.
So I get that, and then once that initial stops, it's now I sit there and go, man, that kid can play, or that guy, and I like that. You probably get it yourself. You see a guitarist, and there's nothing more than going to a gig. And even though the band's really good, you go to a gig and go, oh, that's a nice Telecaster.
Yeah.
And then you kind of it gets to the point where it's basically guitar porn of going, but it was a good gig last night. Yeah, but the guy's Telecaster was alright, wasn't it? And everyone's looking at you going, like, what? Maybe it's like nerd.
Yeah.
Or if I see an amp, that tweed amp, I'll get excited.
Oof.
A tweed amp, I was like, oh yeah, that's...
Calm down.
Yeah. I saw some kid, he must have been about 19, he had a Fender Bassman. I was like, oh dude, give it to me.
I think you told me about that before, and he didn't even know what it was or something.
Yeah, he was like, he said, my dad said it's a good one. I was like, yeah. Your dad said I could have it, so shut up.
He was very nonchalant. I think he was balancing the table on it at one point or something.
Yeah, you get it, man. Keep the youth today, they don't know.
Youth today.
But I do love. I like B's Telecaster bit, and how I like the way how everyone had their own sound. Everyone was very distinctive.
Yeah.
And that was very deliberate.
Yeah.
That was very. What did you think of the presentation of the night? What did you think from beginning to?
Yeah, well, I mean, you came on and you did your do 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 do.
Which annoyed every fucking body.
I love that. I love that sort of that twang, that sort of aspect to it.
The whole.
And you're improvising as well, which is something I love doing. It's just seeing how it goes and just making it up.
Terrifying people.
Yeah. And
mainly I did that because the sets that I don't really have sets, but if I do like 30 minutes of, I don't really call it stand up, but rambling. That's the Guildhall studio is lovely, and the Guildhall is lovely, but the problem is with the Guildhall, for me, it's a new venue. I know what you can I know the boundaries of anywhere on Albert Road.
right.
You can go down the stand up, the Weg, Fat Fox, the Loft, anywhere, and you know what ballpark and sandbox you can play in.
Yeah.
Guildhall, and had the same thing in the Dolphin. When I very first did the Dolphin Old Portsmouth, you go in there and go, I'll do the I do. It's that kind of can I say the C word? Like, oh, what can I do here? Can I even swear?
Yeah.
And I have been told off when I've been.
I think it is a Portsmouth thing, you know. I think we're still very much hung up in the 50s and 60s to a certain degree.
Oh no, I've not heard. I have witnessed horror stories of other areas. I think it's not a regional thing.
Yeah.
I think it is this time and age. It doesn't really affect music, but anyone who does kind of spoken word or stand up or any kind of thing, I think with today's, I don't want to go down a politically correctness route or with this woken era, and you know what I mean. You've got to be very careful what you say. Now, that doesn't affect me because it's just hippie ramblings from me. I'm never going to say anything offensive or political because I don't do political stuff. But yet again, although I would do the oddest set on the bill, I would get the most complaints.
It is a live performance, so you're gonna have to accept that when you go to see a live performance, whereas it's not on TV or the BBC, for example, where it's very controlled and there's limitations to what you can and can't do. So it can, the opportunity of playing live, the whole point of it is, to a certain degree, you can pretty much do what you want.
Have you had any complaints? Has anyone said to you, have you ever done anything?
I've had most of the complaints I've ever had are usually the stock sort of idiot at the back of the bar going, play some Oasis or play something we know, you know, which can be a bit annoying, you know, because you know you're obviously, you know, a band that are trying to do original material, but you just get the one idiot who's like, play something I know, and it's just like, why are you here? Why have you come all this way?
Yeah.
Just to listen to something that you can listen to on the radio. This is a live band, you know. We're not playing covers, you know. We're not a covers band.
Oh yeah.
But I think that's the main issue I get is we're not doing any covers. I don't really get any complaints about the performance as such. Beyond that, really, it's mostly, you know, it's this browbeating thing. I think is what it is.
But when I say complaints, have you ever said something in between? Like,
and then I've actually sort of, I mean, I went on one of Nick Courtney's sessions. I think it was like one of the first ones I did, and I wasn't in a very good mood anyway, and I was a little bit sort of short with the audience because it was in Jags, and it's all mums and dads and kids and stuff, which I completely forgot, and I kind of said the F word a couple of times. So in between the songs, and I felt a bit bad about that, and I apologised. You know. Yeah.
Well, back to Reprise the Wise.
Anyway.
So, regarding the studio in general, could you see yourself doing something that? What if you could have magic wand, the old cliche? If I had a magic wand and you can go, what would you? Could you? You, a whole night there with a support act?
I think it's if I didn't have to worry about you know what the organisers thought, then I'd try and make it the best I could, obviously, you know. But the thing is, you are dealing with local artists that most haven't heard of, so you know it's not like you're bringing in Oasis and all the super bands and all that kind of stuff, you know. So, but I think I'd like to sort of mix it up a bit, you know. I'd maybe get a comedian in, definitely get something like Matt Haran back, and Just Lucy and and B and a few others. I mean, we do an open mic every Thursday, and we get a lot of talented musicians that come in.
And where's your open mic?
Oh yes, well the open mic is down at the Apsley, which is just off Auckland Road in Osborne Road, near Palmerston Road. So the Apsley pub, which is we call it the broken mic, because most of the stuff we got is knackered and falling apart. But we do that every Thursday from about 7:30, 8 o'clock. So if you fancy coming along to an open mic and doing something, then that's the place to be. So
do you have like guitars there for people to play, or do they have to bring their own gear?
If they can bring their own guitar, that'd be better, because I mean we can supply some guitars if they need them, you know. But we supply a drum kit, guitar amps, a bass amp, you know, and there's usually plenty of musicians that you can borrow a guitar off anyway, so it's never a major issue. So
yeah, I need to get down there. I think this Thursday.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, I'll definitely get down there this Thursday.
Yeah, it should be good fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Payday Thursday. Get down there.
Thursdays.
Get down there. Get me scrat out.
Broken mic. And we're also on Facebook as well. So if you Google, if you Facebook us, Broken Mic or Jay's Broken Mic. So yeah. And we usually have a photographer as well, Peter Missons, who pops in and does some nice professional.
Was he the
photos.
guy on?
Yeah, he came down. His glasses and a long hair.
Yeah, I need to meet that guy.
Yeah, he's a really cool guy. Yeah, he's a local artist. When I used to run my shop, he used to come in and do exhibitions and things. And
yeah, he took a very good picture of me.
Did he?
Apart from my face.
Ah.
Which was not because of him, because I own his face.
Ah.
It's not a very good face. That's why I can't wait to hide from this.
Well,
Unsigned Underground thing.
I've seen worse faces.
So, no, I'm like Elephant Man. I'm probably going to get heat for that.
Yeah.
Actually, people don't like Elephant Man. Worst superhero ever.
Yeah. What was
Terrible.
his superpower? Having a bag over his head.
It was ridiculous. I'm actually working on. Well, not working on. I have a go-to thing, and I will probably. I was meant to do it. The last Unsigned Underground. Right. Well, because we had a power cut, I had to cut myself out again, because both Unsigned Undergrounds, I've had no set.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's like, hang on, I want to go, and it's like, fuck, it's like someone else coming in and playing with your toys.
Well, if I do a night, then you can do your set.
And
you know.
But
if I have a Jay Groovara night there, I'll put on Pete Simmons.
Well, I'm hoping that.
Have you got a stage name, or is it just Pete Simmons?
I'm Pete from ROOM82.
Pete from ROOM82.
Oh, I don't like my surname, but we do Pete ROOM82.
Was I not supposed to say your?
You can say my name. It's a boring name.
Tax reasons.
No one cares.
Okay.
No one
Well,
cares.
can you Americanise it? Pete Simons.
So, no, only the bank calls me that.
Peter Simons.
Pete Simon.
Peter Simons.
You should know my name.
Bit of money.
Is it written with a D? That's the other one I get.
Simondas.
Is it written with a D? No, it's not. Go away.
No, it's not.
S-O-N-D-D-D. Oh, it angers me. But the set I have. So I have friends who are comedians, and after a gap of about 5 years, I came back and doing stand up, and well, I don't even call it stand up.
Yeah.
Because I'm just a foible. I am cannon fodder, a cog that makes these guys come on.
Yeah.
And who will eventually disappear into dust, like dust in the wind. Great song. But the idea is like people give me advice. So you've got like comedians going, well, maybe you should write down your jokes and stuff, or maybe you should do a set. And I do have about 30 minutes material on the Elephant Man.
Even better.
But it's not. But when you say that to people go, oh, we can't do that. It's like Elephant Man. Can't have a dig at Elephant Man.
Yeah.
And I'm not having, and my set is not about having a dig about the Elephant Man.
Yeah.
Because I think Elephant Man's alright. He's not a very good superhero.
No, he's not. No.
But that simple joke, because the set's about selling that simple joke. I said that simple joke, and then someone took me to the side, another comedian took me to the side and said, oh, that was disgusting. You should make jokes to the Elephant Man.
It's not very PC.
I was like, I think he won an Oscar. I haven't won an Oscar.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He's made Alien. He was in other things.
Yeah, totally.
And stuff.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Yeah.
But no, I never got a chance to do. And unfortunately, another comedian who's not talking to me, a friend I've known for long, because I couldn't give him a gap on the night.
Right.
There's a few people that turned up, and I did say maybe you could or could not, because we always have people in case we run short or we're running, or if no one turns up.
Yeah.
There was a possibility that I could do one of these Unsigned Undergrounds and no one turns up, and then there's me for 2 hours or 3 hours.
Have you got a recording of your sketch with the Elephant Man?
Our audio recording, yeah.
Yeah.
I have an audio recording of that Elephant Man joke, and also the infamous dolphin one, which I got told off for as well.
Okay.
I made a joke about, I got video of that. So I did a set about, in the dolphin, saying the last time I was inside a dolphin I got banned from SeaWorld. Not a very good joke. And the woman got really offended. She got really offended. It's like, oh, she started throwing like Me Too movement at me, like dolphins are people too. It's like, what? I didn't know if she's being serious, but the funny thing is I told a joke later on in the same set,
right?
Which was, there's a thing I wrote for someone, and I did it out of panic because I ran out of material, and I wrote this joke for someone, and I don't know if they ever used it, and it was, it's the best joke in the world is called the joke. Have you heard it? One?
No.
So the best joke in the world, and I'll explain it briefly. Is this is never gonna get officially atted by the Guildhall. It might. So basically, it was Christmas Eve. My dad came in dressed as Rupert the Bear. You know where I'm going with this?
I think you told me this one.
Yeah. And there's a difference between anal and he was dyslexic, annual and anal. And there was a difference between that, and the only thing she picked me up on was the fact that there was a difference between, there's totally different words, not anything else on that joke. It was like they're totally different words. You're picking on elephant men, dyslexics, dyslexic elephant men.
It's a rude PC. That's
you're
gonna get these people.
If you're gonna pick out the flaws in someone's set, like there's way harsher things I said in that set that you should have picked me up on. Like, don't pick me up on things that make no sense. It's like, oh, elephant man. I think I'm gonna.
It's just nitpicking, isn't it? You know. Totally.
So it didn't. I can't. I don't really want to, because I might save it for material, but. I'm trying to save it for material, but...
Well, if you come down Thursday, you can do whatever you want.
There was an argument about the Elephant Man thing. So
really?
It kind of spilled out without saying too much.
Like a drunken-fuelled argument?
No, it was a bizarrely... Everyone was sober. Argument. I don't know if he was drunk, but then some guy... So basically, he started going... He was wrong, and I kept asking her why I was wrong for saying about the Elephant Man. And she said I was racist. And I went, why am I racist? And because it was like, my brain went, I'm not racist. There's not a group of elephant men. There's an elephant man.
Yeah, so he's not even a race, is he?
So exactly, yeah.
You're contradicting yourself there, love.
But then this guy, he was kind of, he was like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo, come out of nowhere.
Okay.
Came out of nowhere because he heard the word racist. And he was like, oh, who's being racist now, man? I was like, oh, for crying out loud. He's like, oh, he's going on about Elephant Man. And it's like, yeah, it's ridiculous. But I have the audio recording of it, because it was filmed, but John from ROOM82 filmed it with the lens cap on. And if he's hearing this back, yeah, because he did the same first Rise of the Wise, actually. The first Unsigned Underground, he recorded the whole thing with the lens cap on.
That's just
tragic. Enough of that ranting. We've gone on a tangent. It's 31 minutes long. So, what is your future before we have a jam quickly? What is your
future? Well, I guess the next gig we're doing in terms of the future is next Tuesday, 28th or the 29th. I don't know what the date is. But anyway, next Tuesday we're playing at the Edge of the Wedge. And it's a trash arts night, I think it is. Supporting Ala Kuna Wilds, who are from somewhere else, like the Netherlands, or I can't remember where they're from. But anyway, so we're supporting them, and it will be a good opportunity for us to play as loud as possible. So
beautiful.
We're gonna crank it up and just you know, make ears bleed and just make it very, very loud.
Oh.
So we're kicking off, Tuesday, 8 o'clock. So at the edge of the wedge.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And that's so. What about on the grand scheme of things? Where do you want to go with this? What do you want to do? World domination?
Yeah, world domination. Yeah, we want to do a gig on the moon at some point. That'd be awesome. You know, televised right across the world, or
Still.
get NASA involved. You know, sort out all the technical. Yeah,
You're better off going for Elon Musk, actually.
Elon, yeah. Actually, I might give him a call and say,
SpaceX.
yeah, if you put this on and stuff, you know.
It sounds like some 70s or 80s porn. SpaceX.
SpaceX. Yeah, that could be a film right there. So.
With Elon Musk.
Yeah.
But yeah, would you like to do? I asked B and Lucy this. So
right.
Would you prefer to be signed, or would you prefer to do it off your own back? Would you prefer? And I'll say do it off your own back. Then so you get lucky, and then someone funds you to do it.
It'd be great to be signed because of you don't have to do all the work anymore. You know, all then you've got to worry about is just concentrating on the music. You know, but the trouble is when you're not signed, you got to do everything. You got to motivate yourself. You got to get up in the morning, and you got to sort of try and convince everyone on the internet that you're worth listening to, and it can be quite a struggle to do that. But yeah, the traditional having a record deal, would be a great opportunity if you have a decent record contract that doesn't kind of screw you over and you're not touring to the point where you're killing yourself. So yeah, in that respect, I mean, I have sent stuff off to a few record labels over the years and just got tumbleweeds. I mean, there is this problem with record labels, which is why a lot of bands just go and do it themselves. Is they just get fed up with the fact that they're just being completely ignored by the record labels, because the record labels think they know best all the time, which can be really frustrating because actually they don't know best. They are just facilitators. And I think a lot of them kind of forget that.
Yeah.
They get to this point where they're just completely untouchable, and you can't even contact them. It's almost impossible to get through to a real person. It's like trying to phone up the bank and sort out your overdraft or something. Times 9/11. So in that respect, it can be a double-edged sword. If you do get a record label, is it a blessing, or is it just going to kill you? Is it ultimately going to put the final nail in your coffin? Because now you're passing over all your stuff to a record label, and it's really down to them to promote it and get it out there. But you may end up signing a deal with the devil. They may sort of say, well, we want you to completely change your style, we want you to do this, we want you to do that, and get rid of the drummer. We don't like the drummer. He's too short, or he's too fat, or he's too this. And actually, we don't like you either. But we're going to take away your music anyway and put it through the grinder. And
Oh no, I wouldn't play ball with that.
Exactly. Yeah. So a lot of it's down to how desperate you are to get a record label.
Yeah.
I've heard so many horror stories about people getting themselves established. They've got a fan base, and then the record label comes out of nowhere and takes up the mantle, and then they completely screw it up, and then the fan base just dissipates.
Yeah.
And then they kick them out of the record label. There's a band called Electrolane who had a big following in Brighton, and they were like this kind of electro pop sort of keyboard based all girl band, and they were great. They were fantastic, and they were signed to Skint Records. But Skint Records binned them straight away. They recorded the album with them, and then they obviously listened back to it and thought, actually, where's the hit single in all of this? They didn't even release it, so they had to dissolve their contract with Skint Records, and Electrolane had to then re-record the entire album all over again with a different record company. It was such a nightmare. So there is all these headaches with a record label in terms of it can be a real tightrope.
Are you one for compromise? Would you?
I think if there is a compromise, it really depends. Like if it gets to a point where I feel like I'm just going nowhere doing it by myself, and you have a compromise. If the record label comes along and says, well, this is our compromise, this is what you've got to do if you want to play the big leagues, if you want to get yourself on TV, you've got to do this and you've got to do that, then I'll have to consider it. it depends on what that compromise is. You know,
It's
if they say, actually, we don't like you, we just want your songs, and we'll get some we'll get some young chicken to sing your songs. I'd probably have to make some compromises there and say, okay, well, whatever, as long as you pay me.
I know you pay me. I do songs. Some like
exactly. If you're gonna if the contract is gonna be I'm gonna be a songwriter, that's fair enough. I'll get paid for that. You know, whatever. You know, but if it gets to that point where you know I want it to be the Jay Groovara band, this is what I want, and the record label like, nope, we don't want that at all. Then it's why are we even talking?
Yeah. Okay.
What's the point?
Oh, I'm not one for compromise. I'm terrible.
Yeah.
I am. Yeah. The amount of times I probably did cut my nose off to just bump my face.
Yeah.
On the fact of, but I don't think people should compromise, and I'd fight anyone's corner.
Yeah,
well.
I mean, you shouldn't have to compromise.
For it could. I would quite happily, if there was a point where, I wouldn't, and I'll use the studio for an example, but there has been times when this has happened. Is if someone turned around and you say, well, okay, we'll have this band on Unsigned Underground, but we want them to change this. You know, even like the old school Doors thing where he goes on the Ed Sutherland show.
Yeah.
Can we get much higher?
Can't do higher, sorry man, can't say that word.
Yeah.
No.
I would fight my ground, and
how about we just say, girl, you can get on much better.
Something like that. I'd stand my ground and go no. To the point where I'd be such a dick on that compromise. 9 times out of 10, both parties are going, I'll just do it, just to shut him up, just let him.
If you got the confidence to do, I wouldn't have the confidence to do that. But like,
there's nothing wrong being a dick. There's nothing wrong being a dick, because my advice to anyone like yourself and anyone who comes on the podcast or anyone who does Unsigned Underground is be yourself. Be yourself. You're the guys playing. You're the guys doing the hard work. It's not for anyone to dictate. As soon as someone's dictating what you're doing, just boom, boom, boom. And I can't help feeling that there must be record labels out there that are looking for that. We just haven't found them yet. But there must be something out there. Far and few between.
I mean, look at it this way: if somebody like yourself exists, and you're running this night at the Guildhall, then it has to be.
There are. But
something like that in a record label kind of format.
Regarding record labels, and I'm doing a finger inverted comment thing of fingers. I found the main shift of record labels because of the internet is, especially over the last 18 months, of record labels and agents and people in music, it's very hard to come across someone who works for a record label and then you take them to the side and go, you ever played yourself? Or do you play yourself? And 9 times out of 10 they go, well, no, but I used to have it. I got my MP3, my iPod is full. It's very hard, and like same with audio guys. There's a lot of audio guys that are around us, and some of them are good who don't play. But there's a lot of audio guys that like you do sound checks with, and then you take them to the side and go, "Have you ever?"
You do any of your own stuff.
You're doing. They're sound checking some kind of function band, and it's not going right, and you have to take them to the side and go. That scrap, you can't.
Why are you doing this kind of job?
Why is that scrap really fucking loud? And then you kind of work out. You ask them nicely, "Have you played?" And they go, "Well, no, we ain't played, but I learned how to do this in uni." And it's not a bad thing, but in the same respect, I think it helps whether you're in a record label if you've played yourself.
Oh yeah, totally.
I like to think that I have done the bumpy road stuff as well, and. I might get back on the wagon and pick up the guitar one day, but I feel your guys' pain because I know it is, it's so fucking hard out there.
Oh, it's horrible.
And it shouldn't be, but hopefully things I like Unsigned Underground will make it a community again, because we're cutting that. We need that.
It's about cutting out the middleman, isn't it?
Yeah, we need niceness as well. We need stuff like this. There's a lot of too cool for school going on. There's nothing wrong with being nice and lovely, and you know what I mean. It's.
Yeah. I mean, you offered me a Bakewell tart earlier. So
I've got another one. Yeah. So we're going to take a break and have a very quick jam and a Bakewell tart when we come back, and hopefully you'll stayed this long. This is the longest one we've done actually.
Okay. It's the mammoth.
Pretty good. That's it. They probably can only hear you because of my cold.
Oh,
so
yeah.
come back for part 3.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.